What if the darkest corners of the internet share a hidden language with communities focused on some of the most misunderstood mental health conditions? That's exactly what a new study has uncovered. And the results might upend the way you think about hate speech, misinformation, and online mental health forums. But here's where things get controversial. Do online communities rooted in certain personality traits reflect and even amplify the most toxic discourse online? Or are we risking unfairly blurring the line between mental illness and malevolent behavior? Let's dig in. With the meteoric rise of platforms like Reddit, the internet has become a megaphone for every voice, including those spreading hate speech and misinformation. Such content isn't just words on a screen. It's been shown to influence public attitudes, distort health messaging, and even trigger violence. For years, psychologists have pointed their fingers at traits from the so-called dark triad: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Yet, this only scratches the surface of the psychological forces at play. Enter Cluster B, the group of personality disorders in psychiatry's handbook, including antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic personalities. These conditions, often marked by intense emotions, impulsive actions, rocky relationships, and dramatic self-images, can sometimes show up in language as sudden mood shifts, manipulative remarks, hostility, or status-obsessed conversations. Now, imagine how such language might appear in a heated online debate or a forum infamous for controversial takes. And this is the part most people miss. While scientists have spent years mapping toxic online behavior to general personality traits, fewer have tried to directly compare hate speech and misinformation posts to the unique communication styles found in communities for specific psychiatric disorders, let alone on a massive, data-driven scale. The stakes are high because Reddit and platforms like it offer a staggering ecosystem for this kind of analysis. It hosts everything from mental health support groups to the wildest conspiracy circles to raucous subreddits notorious for hateful rhetoric. This creates a rare opportunity to compare linguistic fingerprints across vastly different communities. In a recent collaborative effort, scientists drew from a pool of 54 Reddit communities grouped into hate speech hubs, misinformation networks, psychiatric disorder forums, and control forums with no direct connection to hate or mental health issues. By sampling 1,000 posts from each community, they built a vast collection of raw material for their analysis. Advanced language models like GPT-3 transformed every Reddit post into a detailed mathematical map, a sort of digital DNA representing the deeper meaning behind users' words. But here's where the research really gets fascinating. They didn't just analyze the posts in isolation. They created both individual post representations and broader community-level summaries, capturing each group's overall conversational style. Then, using a machine learning approach called zero-shot classification, they trained models to identify which communities' language patterns were most similar, even if the models had never seen that specific type of content before. So what did they find? Almost 80% of hate speech posts bore a striking linguistic resemblance to posts from psychiatric disorder forums, especially those centered on antisocial, borderline, or narcissistic personalities, all falling under Cluster B. Schizoid personalities, from Cluster A, known for social detachment, also showed up in the mix. Misinformation forums, in contrast, were more nuanced. Only about a quarter matched the linguistic style of psychiatric disorder forums, often overlapping with anxiety-related communities. Most misinformation posts, though, landed closer to the control group. They didn't share such a tight resemblance with any specific mental health community. Still, it wasn't just raw statistics. Visual mapping of the community embeddings revealed something intriguing. Hate speech and certain psychiatric communities were just similar. They were closely linked in the embedding space, with hate speech sitting right beside forums for cluster B disorders. In contrast, control groups were distant, almost in another neighborhood altogether. Even some misinformation communities appeared connected, especially those fixated on COVID-19 conspiracies, which echo the themes of anxiety and uncertainty. In a bold twist, when researchers removed the most closely linked communities from their models, narcissistic and schizoid personality disorder forums, hate speech patterns migrated toward those associated with borderline and antisocial disorders. Communities for depression or classic PTSD were further removed, suggesting that the unique communication style of complex PTSD may be more intertwined with personality disorder communities than with other trauma groups. Could this fuel ongoing debates about how we categorize trauma-related conditions? But let's not jump to conclusions. As the study's lead author, Dr. Andrew Alexander warns, these linguistic similarities don't prove that people with mental health diagnoses are creating the hate speech or misinformation. The direction of influence remains unclear. Are people with certain personality traits more likely to use hostile language, or do toxic online environments cultivate a style of communication resembling these traits? Could online hate even encourage the sort of emotional volatility and antagonism that cluster B disorders are infamous for? The researchers are quick to stress a crucial limitation. These analyses rely on data from self-identified forums, not from groups confirmed through clinical diagnosis. That means we can't be sure the users in these communities actually meet the criteria for the disorders in question. And since the study focused entirely on Reddit, it's uncertain whether the findings would hold on other platforms with different demographics or rules. Here's another layer worth debating. If certain styles of antagonistic, emotionally charged language are statistically more common in both hate speech and specific mental health forums, what does that mean for how we moderate online spaces? Is it a signal that platforms should intervene more aggressively, or a sign that we need better mental health literacy online to avoid deeper stigmatization? Ultimately, this research opens more questions than it answers. It highlights the intricate and sometimes uncomfortable intersections between psychology and digital communication. As artificial intelligence tools become more sophisticated, future studies might bring in clinical verification, span more types of communities, or analyze entirely new platforms to truly understand where the boundaries blur between online toxicity and mental health struggles. So here's the big question. Are these patterns a warning about how we treat the most vulnerable members of our digital communities? Or a challenge to rethink the roots of online hate itself? Where do you stand? Share your thoughts and let's spark a real conversation in the comments below. Do these findings surprise you, or do they reinforce what you've long suspected about the internet's darker corners?